Hello everyone, welcome to another video on the SQL tutorial. In our last video, I taught on how to use the MySQL select command. I'll be dropping the link to the previous video on the screen so that in case you haven't seen it, try and watch the video first so that it's easy for you to follow along with the tutorial. With that being said, on our today's video, I'll be teaching the MySQL WHERE clause. So as you can see, the MySQL workbench is already opened on my system, and I'll be using the cardio data which was used in our last video. The WHERE clause is used to filter records. It's used to extract only those records that fulfill a specified condition, and this is the syntax for the WHERE clause. Select your column name from table name where and you place in your condition you want to be met. So in case I want to get only values or only records where a patient's cholesterol value was very high, I can pass that as a condition to be met, and it gives me just those rows. So in our today's class, we'll be looking at how to use the WHERE clause for test values, for numeric feed, and also how to use operators with this WHERE clause. When I mean operators, I'm talking about using the equal signs, greater than sign, lesser than sign, greater than or equal to, not equal to, less than or equal to. We'll also be looking at how we can use some operators like between, like, and in. So firstly, I'll go ahead and open a new SQL script, and so let's just take a view of what our table looks like. So I'll select all from our cardio data. So let's go ahead and run this, and this is our table. So let me make this a bit bigger. Yeah, so just like we said, if you are working on your data set and you just want to view patient records where their cholesterol value was very high, we can say, okay, want to select all columns from cardio data where, so this is where our WHERE clause comes into place. So you tell it where, what condition do you want to be met. So you say where cholesterol, which is the name of our column. So name of our column is cholesterol. So where cholesterol equals, and we want to look at values where patient's cholesterol value are very high. So you open a quotation and we place our condition very high. So semicolon. So let's go ahead and run this. So you can see that from running the script, we have 8,066 rows which was returned out of our 70,000 rows of data which we had previously. So about 8,066 rows of patients have cholesterol values that are very high. So next, SQL queries require single quote around test values. Most database systems, however, will allow for double quotes. So in place of this single quotes, we can also make use of double quotes. But remember, if you are opening with double quotes, you should also close with double quotes. Okay, so you can either use single quotes or double quotes. That's for test values. However, numeric field should not be enclosed in quotes. So what do I mean by numeric field? So for example, we have normal here, our cholesterol value, we have normal, very high. These are our test values. While in harder study column, we have values like 80, 100, which are numbers. These are numerical values. So numerical values do not need to be enclosed within quotes. Yeah. So for example, we can say select star, that select all from cardio data where gender equals to. So if I go ahead and run this, yeah, it gives me just rows where our gender values are 2, and you see it returns 24,470 rows of data from our 70,000 rows of data. So 24,470 rows of patients are female, while rest are male patients. So you don't have to place this within quotes since it's a int values. And if you want to check to know if it's actually a int values, you can go check here, and let's go to our columns. Under our columns we have gender, and if you just come down here and look at it, it gives you all the columns and their value type. So you can see gender is int. So even if we also go ahead and click on this, it just gives us a brief definition of what the column is about. So gender definition, and you can see that is an int object, so it's an integer object. So next on our item, we'll be looking at how to use the operators in the where clause. We've already looked at how to use the equal sign. So you can see we use the equal sign when we're checking for cholesterol values that are very high, or when we're checking for genders that were equals to 2, which is our female gender. So the next item is using signs, the greater than sign. So for us to make use of the greater than sign, definitely greater than signs can be used with numerical values, because you are trying to show or search for values that are greater than a particular number, or we can also say lesser than a particular number. So we can also do this. So in place of gender, let's go ahead and identify rows of data where their systolic values was greater than 100. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's select all columns from our cardio data, okay, from our cardio data where our systolic value, so systolic, where our systolic value was greater than 100. So let's go ahead and run this. So you can see we only have values from 100 and above. We have 110, 140, 130, 150. So these are the values. So you're just only going to see values that are from 100 and above. So if I want to see values that are just equal, that are just 100, where patients that have their systolic values at 100, I can go ahead and change this greater than sign to an equal to sign. So if I go ahead and run this, I'll just be getting patients that their systolic value was at 100. So you can see this. So same thing goes for lesser than. If I want to get values that are lesser than 100, I can just go ahead and change this to a lesser than sign. So if we go ahead and run this, we'll be getting patient values where their systolic was lesser than 100. So you can see we have 90, 80, we have 14. This should be an outlier. Then we have other values also. Okay, so next we'll be looking at greater than or equals to sign and the less than or equals to sign. So the greater than or equals to sign means you are searching for value that is greater than 100 or equals to 100. So when we search for values that were just greater than 100, 100 wasn't inclusive. But if you are using the greater than or equals to sign, 100 will be inclusive. But because you are saying it should, if the value is equals to 100, you need that value. And if it's greater than 100, you also need those values too. So let's go down and write another query and say we're selecting all columns from cardio data where our systolic value is greater than or equal to 100. So if we go ahead and run this statement, so you can see our systolic value, we have 110, 140, and you can also see we have 100 in it. So we're not just looking for values greater than 100, but we're looking for values that are starting from 100 and above. So same thing happens to when you are using the lesser than or equals to sign. So if we're saying we're looking for values that are lesser than or equals to 100, it means we're looking for values that are from 100 and below. So that's the difference between the greater than sign and the greater than or equals to, and the lesser than sign or the lesser than and equals to sign. So our next operator is the not equal. So when we say not equal, it means we want to search for values that are not equal to a certain number. So we can say I want to select all columns from cardio data where systolic is not equals to, so for the not equals to sign, you can either make use of this sign, a greater than and a less than sign, or sorry, a lesser than and a greater than sign, or you can make use of this, an exclamation and an equal to sign. So both symbols all represent a not equals to. So we want to look for values that do not equal to 100. So if I go ahead and run this, we'll be getting other values outside from 100. So we got 110, 140, 130. But if you look through our systolic values, you realize that we don't have 100. We don't have patient with systolic value of 100 within those records because we've excluded it from our search using our where condition. That brings us to the end of our today's session. Kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you can get first-hand information when I upload a new video. Also, like and share this video so that we can get to a broader audience. Remember to drop your comments and questions in the comment section. I'll be replying to everyone's questions. Thank you.